Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network podcast. I am your host, Anthony Ragucci, and this is Replay, Relive, and Re-Experience, or as we like to call it, Re3s, where you guessed it, we do all three of those things to our favorite video game series. In this edition of Re3, we'll be replaying, reliving, and re-experiencing the Halo franchise, starting with Halo Combat Evolved and ending with Halo 5 Guardians in anticipation for Halo Infinite. Here to go on Master Chief Saga with me, my co-host, Chris Trio, and guest co-host, Chris Geddes. Guys, Chris.
Chris.
Thanks.
Chris. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say we're back. It's fun to be back.
Yeah, double recording. We just did
little peek behind the curtain.
Episode 7. We're doing episode 8. We're getting into it. This is a heavy episode. A lot of, well, at least the first half of it is probably going to be a lot of heavy lore. There's a bunch of shit as we get into the background of the Covenant kind of campaign, and we are getting into a first level not playing as Master Chief. Guys,
whoa,
before we even talk
Master
about
Chief?
it, how are you feeling about that? Not playing as Master Chief.
You know what's funny? I feel like with Halo 5, we had like the new protagonist coming in with Locke, and I remember being much more trepidatious with that. But I remember playing Halo 2 and being like, and even still, I'm like, this is cool. We're playing as like the other guy. We're playing as a lizard man who's also the bad guy, and it's cool to get
fucking respect.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's the Arbiter.
The goddamn Arbiter.
That's Thel Vadamy.
Goddamn Thel.
I was kind of in the same camp you're in. You get to play as the Arbiter. That's fucking sick. And now I'm kind of like,
It's true.
No, like, I don't know. The more I play the Arbiter levels, like there's some things I don't like about them, and there's some things I do. I feel more like dislikes. Like there's one part in the Oracle where we'll get to where I'm just gonna be like, oh, I fucking hate this part, man. So let's jump into our 6th campaign mission, the Arbiter, which introduces the Arbiter, Thel Vadamy, as a playable character for the first time. You must assassinate the heretic leader on a Forerunner gas mine in Threshold's atmosphere. First cutscene, we witness the death of Thel Vadamy and the birth of the Arbiter. Cutscene starts out with Tartarus and a few brutes kind of dragging Thel through this like prison area with a bunch of like grunts, jackals. Is in prisons, and basically, I mean, they have a little banter about like eating him,
yeah.
yeah, and then they get him down to the mausoleum of the Arbiter. They let him go. I should have probably put that in the doc, the mausoleum of the Arbiter. I guess it doesn't really matter. I think you go back to it in a high charity anyway. We can talk about it then. Sidebar.
Sounds great.
Tartarus brings Thel down, drops him off, and the Prophet of Truth pretty much shoos them away. As the Prophet of Mercy and the Prophet of Truth pretty much now are going to brief Thel Vadamy on why he is not being killed and instead given a chance of redemption with the Covenant. So what do you guys think of this cutscene? It's kind of like a big exposition.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty big exposition dump, but yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought it was like really cool lore and interesting, and I remember even when it first came out being like, this is dope. This is really cool. Where's this going? You know, I enjoyed it.
I love his armor. I love the Arbiter's armor. It's so good.
Yeah. Do you know in 2 it doesn't have mandible covers, and in 3 it does. It covers his mandibles. Yeah. I actually read that today. I knew that like in my head, but
like, yeah,
so
sure.
I was like, oh, okay.
So yeah, a little note of it.
So a few things I wanted to mention is like some of the dialogue between Truth and Mercy. More things they say than the Arbiter. He doesn't really do too much except for like ask like very simple questions and stays on his knees as he's in front of Truth and Mercy. But Prophet of Truth says, quite so, here rests the vanguards of the great journey. Every Arbiter from first to last, each one created and consumed in times of extraordinary crisis. The Prophet of Mercy jumps in with the taming of the Hunters, the Grunt Rebellion. Were not for the Arbiters, the Covenant would have broken long ago. I'll get into the lore of the Arbiters, but yeah, it looks like the Arbiters are kind of like, yeah, like they're needed in these times of like where the Covenant is
Great strife.
Right. Oh. Yeah, and I think we mentioned when we talked about the Hunters, we mentioned the taming of the Lakogo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Prophet of Mercy references that, and then the Ungoi Rebellion is mentioned here. It's funny they don't use their like scientific names, and they like the Covenant calls Sangheli elites, and like the Jirahani, the brutes, like they don't use the scientific name, which is pretty funny. But to like, if you're playing the game, you're not gonna be like, "What the fuck is that?"
why? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
you know
actually-
what a brute is.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
yeah.
the elites are. You know the grunts are.
It's funny.
One thing also different in the original that's different in the anniversary, when he gets up to go to his armor, he covers his heretic brand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do that in the original. I thought that was very interesting that he was like so ashamed of it. I mean, he's fucking naked, but
Yeah.
like, you know, he's like covering it up because he's so like, you know, obviously it's a mark of shame. Prophets of Truth says Halo's destruction was your error, and you rightfully bear the blame. But the council was overzealous. We know you are no heretic. This is the true face of heresy, one who would subvert our faith and incite rebellion against the High Council. And he shows you the heretic leader who will be going after in this first mission as the Arbiter. And I like when he puts his helmet and goes,
What would you have your Arbiter do?
Keith David.
Keith David, man.
Yeah. Fucking, you know, Spawn.
He was in Gargoyles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for. I was
Oh,
waiting for.
no, it's good. Yeah. No, do you guys ever see the Spawn show?
No.
You need to watch it. It's on HBO Max, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, but he's awesome. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Does he play Spawn?
Yes, he does. He's very good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not literally, physically. His voice.
His
is
voice.
Spawn. Yeah. All right. So we got to give a little bit about all three of these people. Well, not Thel, but the Arbiter. So let's give a dossier on the Prophet of Truth, the High Prophet of Truth, born Ord Casto.
The council decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. But ultimately, the terms of your execution are up to me.
Formerly known as the Minister of Fortitude, was the leader of the three prophet hierarchs that led the High Covenant Council during the Ninth Age of Reclamation, of course, and is the central antagonist of Halo 2 and 3, and one of the main instigators of the war against humanity.
What a weird name. Ord Casto.
Yeah, I don't know what their names are weird.
Yeah, it
Mercy
doesn't
has
seem
it.
very...
I don't. I mean, their names are pretty much irrelevant. Like the Prophet of Truth.
Oh, you know Ord. Come on.
Yeah,
Ord?
Ord.
My friend Ord.
Yeah, Ord. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know Ord.
Yeah.
I go betting with him
Hey,
every
Ord
week.
Casto.
Ord, what's going on?
He has an extensive military career involving the Grunt Rebellion, Harvest, and the Discovery of Earth, just to name a few things. If you really want to go, like, the wiki has extensive background on, like, some of the shit he's did. It was, like, a little too in the weeds for me. And I
Yeah,
was
you're
just
like, all right, I can do without some of this.
right,
Yeah.
like, this is really not relevant to anything, but if
Sure.
you want that lore, you can go get it on the wiki. Ironically, Truth, like his fellow prophets, Mercy and Regret, express behavior quite opposite of the name which they have. Truth often lies, specifically about the Great Journey, the activation of the Halo Rings to keep the lower ranks from rebelling against the prophets. Oddly enough, in Halo First Strike, both Truth and Tartarus are referred to as it, while it could be a nod to the fact that Truth is truth personified, but they're both guys, obviously. During Thel 'Vadamy's trial in Halo 2, the Prophet of Truth refers to John 117 as the Master Chief. It is unknown how he actually knows this alternative name for John 117.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's like, when he's talking to Thel about him, the destruction of Installation 4, he says at the hands of the Master Chief.
Oh, and this is like the first cutscene, right?
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still at the
I'm
first
gonna have to go
cutscene.
back and rewatch that.
Chris, can you read the Prophet of Mercy for me?
No.
It's terrible because I thought you were referring to me now.
The High Prophet of Mercy, born as Had Rumpt. Rumpt?
The tasks you must undertake as the Arbiter are perilous, suicidal. You will die, as each Arbiter has before you. The Council will have their corpse.
Was the oldest of the three hierarchs that led the Covenant High Council during the Human Covenant War. The Prophet of Mercy was elected to the High Council before either of his fellow hierarchs, the Prophets of Truth and Regret, were even born. His tenure was marked by several tense debates with Sangheili High Counselors over the proper dispensation of Forerunner artifacts. During that time, he was considered one of the last of the Old Guard, as he publicly questioned the wisdom of the Sansums demilitarization at the close of the Sangheili Sansum War. This brand of thinking may have contributed to his later willingness to help replace the Sangheili with a Jirahani. Like all the other hierarchs, Mercy's name is ironic. He is given no mercy by the Prophet of Truth, as he has showed no mercy either to the humans or to Thelvadamy, whom he wanted dead.
Yeah, he's pretty mean to him.
Meanie.
Yeah, because he's like, you'll die as the Arbiter. Like, he mentions the fact that, like, Thelvadamy is pretty much doing these missions, is going to die, and that's how he's going to redeem himself by dying. Yeah, he's pretty mean. Truth is, like, a little more sinister about the way he's talking. He's kind of, like, coaxing him into it a little bit. But, yeah, let's discuss what exactly the Arbiter is. The title of Arbiter was meant for the pinnacle of the Sangheili, a master of the battlefield, who would lead all the clans. It became the highest possible honor bestowed upon Covenant Sangheili by their hierarchs during a great time of need. It was the greatest religious rank of the Sangheili, although the Sangheili High Counselor is considered to have superior political and military status. That was until one Arbiter challenged the words of the Prophet and lost, which caused the title to be a badge of shame. But the rank was still returned to its full glory shortly before the Great Schism. So this is after Halo 3. The Arbiter acted as a sort of field marshal, going on missions for the Prophets and during incidents such as the taming of the Lakogo and the Ungoi Rebellion, and most recently the threat of the Heretics, until the Arbiter Thelvadamy incited a brigade against the Covenant Empire, where the Arbiter once more led all the Sangheili toward victory. Few trivia facts. Note that the Arbiter armor is different in Halo 2 and 3. The Arbiter's mandibles in Halo 2 are unprotected, while in Halo 3, the armor covers the mandibles. Also, the Halo 2 Arbiter armor is silver/gray, while the Halo 3 is more of a bronze. However, this is due to the improved lighting effects, as his armor is gray in levels with sparse light. Similarly, the Arbiter now has a flashlight on his left shoulder, but only works when playing with the other players or a guest. That's in Halo 3. Going back to a fun fact, I think we had 2 episodes ago, the Arbiter was originally meant to be called the Dervish. The name was changed because it might create an unintended parallel between the game and the real-life conflict between the Western world and the Middle East. In the Spanish version of Halo 2 and 3, the Arbiter is called the Inquisitor. So, like, Inquisitor.
Kind of like that. A little, I don't even know.
Inquisitor.
The Inquisitor.
So, we got our mission. We know what would you have your Arbiter do? Well, Prophet Truth just told us, so you already know what to do. So, yeah, we are joining a Covenant force, not that big, it's like a few Phantoms worth of people, to take out the Hunters. The scene changes to show High Charity and the fleet surrounding it. 3 Phantoms fly past the camera and swoop past the ruins of Installation 4. A large piece of it is still intact, and with the landscape and clouds still visible. As it flies, the voice of Tas Vadum can be heard. Tas Vadum.
Wouldn't it be Vadamy? Wouldn't that be another Vadumi, maybe?
Vadumi, sorry, Vadumi, yeah.
That sounds...
Vadumi. All right.
I'll do the Spec Ops elites.
I can do...
Actually, whoever's not Vadumi, we should both be the elites.
I can be Vadumi.
Okay.
When we joined the Covenant, we took an oath.
The scene cuts to an inside of the Phantom where the Spec Op elites, along with the new Arbiter, line the walls with a line of Spec Ops grunts in the center. And Ultra Elite, the Spec Op leader, Taz Vadumi, speaks among them.
According to our station, all without exception.
On the blood of our fathers, on the blood of our sons, we swore to uphold the Covenant.
Even to our dying breath.
Those who would break this oath are heretics, worthy of neither pity nor mercy. Even now they use our Lord's creation to broadcast their lies.
We shall grind them into dust.
And continue our march to glorious salvation.
The Phantoms enter Threshold's atmosphere and become a larger Forerunner platform. I'll be Arbiter. You be Vadumi.
Sounds good. This armor suits you, but it cannot hide that mark.
Nothing ever will.
You are the Arbiter, the will of the Prophets. But these are my elites. Their lives matter to me. Yours does not.
That makes 2 of us.
Oh,
interesting rivalry happening.
It's funny how it doesn't even feel like a rivalry. It just feels like more like the Arbiter's like, listen, I get it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and like he's like, all right, fuck you. Like, you know, like, you know what I mean?
Shipmaster, I call him Shipmaster because that's the title he gets in Halo 3. He's like one of my favorite side characters. I don't know why I like him so much. I think the first time I liked him is in Floodgate in Halo 3, where he comes with the Shadow of Intent when he's on your side. He's like, this is Shipmaster with the Shadow of Intent, and he drops his fucking like elites. I was like, I don't know why, that was just really cool,
but it's awesome. Yeah,
like I'm just really into it. So I really like this character, and he has a really cool line at the end of the game. I can't wait to mount up Arbiter. So Taz Vadumi
Then mount up, Arbiter. I know a way to break those doors.
was the Sangheili Special Operations Commander of the Covenant Army before the Great Schism. And after the Great Schism, he served as Shipmaster. He was the only known operations commander of the Covenant Army in the Halo series, a title which held before the Civil War. Wait.
A title which he held before the Civil War.
A title which he held before the Civil War. As the Shipmaster of the Shadow Intent and the de facto commander of the Covenant Separatists as Fleet Master of the Fleet of Retribution, he had a pivotal role during and after the Battle of Installation 5. Some trivia. Taz is one of the few Sangheili that actually care for the grunts under his command. Taz is one of only 2 elites to call John 117 Spartan rather than Demon, the other one being the Arbiter. It is a noble habit of Taz in Halo 2 to assist the Arbiter but suddenly leave to attend other matters, usually just before the more difficult parts of the mission. This tendency is noticed by Tartarus, who refers to him as a coward. This is also most likely to balance the game since Taz is invincible.
I mean, it's for game reasons.
Game reasons, but lore reasons.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sure. So we talked about Threshold. What the fuck is that, Chris? Lay it down.
Well, I'll tell you. The Threshold gas mine was a large structure suspended in the atmosphere of the gas giant Threshold, the planet around which Installation 04 orbited. It was an expansive automated facility that was created and used by the Forerunners and later the Heretics. Threshold is a massive gas giant planet.
Right. So it's like, is Saturn a gas giant?
I think so. So is Neptune, I believe, as well.
Yeah, so it's uninhabitable, but like there's stations around it.
So do gas giants have a surface though, right? Like they have there's
I guess.
I would assume they would.
Yeah, like I feel
They
like
can't just be like giant.
no, just things of
spheres
gas.
of
Yeah, of gas.
Yeah.
Maybe they are. I don't know.
Just a big sphere of gas.
So yeah, we drop. We're down. We're playing as the Arbiter. One of the changes, I guess, from Master Chief is that we have active camo, but it's not as good as the other Elite's active camo because our armor system is older. I like how Shipmaster kind of says that. He's like,
You may wish to do the same, Arbiter. But take heed. Your armor system is not as new as ours. Your camouflage will not last forever.
you may want to use active camo as well, but beware, it is not as good as our own.
Yeah, it's like you have an older set of arms. It's like, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, asshole.
Yeah.
And of course, as a Arbiter or an Elite Sangheili, we are equipped with the Type 1 Energy Sword.
Yay!
But
Finally.
I know, seriously.
Finally.
This is a close quarters weapon of the Covenant Empire, exclusively used by the Elites. The Energy Sword is the signature weapon of the Sangheili, and has been their weapon of nobility since its creation during one of their ages of discovery. Viewed as a holy weapon, the Sangheili pride themselves on their skills with it. They believe it is better for a Sangheili to fall on his sword as an act to redeem his honor.
That very samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolute. Like,
yeah,
exactly same,
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say towards the end. Yeah, it's very, again, not really Spartan, but samurai with their katanas.
Yep.
Yeah, and their swords. The Sangheili are also very strict on who can be trained in the art of swordsmanship. Only aristocrats are permitted to wield energy swords, and sword wielders are no longer eligible for marriage. Breeding with any female they choose is permitted.
married or otherwise.
Yeah, to ensure successful transmission of swordsmanship genes.
Nice. Good. So basically, you get to wield your sword and then your sword, if you know what I mean. That's like a lot of fun.
A lot of swords.
And yeah, that's cool. So that's
they
so
can't get
insane.
married,
They can't get
just
married, but they
breed.
can bang all they want and have as
bang,
many
okay.
kids as they want.
Yeah.
Why would you not be a swordsman? I guess it's tough. I assume.
Well,
it's probably pretty.
You have to be nobility or an aristocrat.
Oh, that's true. Are there any female elites
We
in
haven't.
the?
I don't think we've seen.
I
any.
knew that
in
was
the-
going to come.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. I was like, because I was like, I feel like do
There
they
has
show up
to
in the
be,
last
yeah.
in the next one? I feel like they do. Like you start hearing like they sound like feet, like they
I'm
sound
trying
more
to
high.
think. I don't know.
There are female elites, yeah.
But like,
totally
and I
are.
guess that my more is in battle. Are there? Like I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like obviously because it says like they get married and they
Yeah.
Right, like literally,
Like, they obviously exist,
all the brutes,
but-
all the grunts, all the I mean, as far as we know, all the jackals seem to be guys.
What about the bug things? The drones.
Well, they're all male.
Remember
That's
when
right.
we
Forgot.
went over that?
Yeah.
One
Dumb.
queen.
Like queen.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
shit.
Trio, we are about to face a new faction of enemy, the heretics. Why don't you educate us?
Let's talk about them. In the wake of the Battle of Installation 04, Sessa Refumi formed a separatist faction considered to be the heretics by the Covenant. Comprised of Sanghili and Ungoi, they had been considered to be enough of a threat by the Covenant religion that the Prophet of Truth sent the Arbiter to eliminate their faction. Originally, these heretics were a Covenant artifact retrieval team attached to the fleet of Particular Justice and led by Sessa. Is it Sisa or Sessa?
I would say Sessa.
Sessa Refume. They were investigated. They were investigated. No, that's wrong. They investigated.
No, they were investigating.
I can't read. Chikuch, I get this. This is tough, man. They were investigating a gas mine on the planet's threshold when the UNSC Pillar of Autumn crashed on Halo. A few days later, the retrieval team located the monitor of Installation 04-343 Guilty Spark, that fuckhead, floating adrift in the wreckage of Halo. Spark promptly took command of the Sentinels running the gas mine and cheerfully informed the artifact retrieval team of the true purpose of the Halo array, utterly destroying their faith in the promised great journey. Delusioned by the lies of the prophets and their great journey, Refume initiated an open rebellion against the prophet leadership and the basis of the Covenant. In secret, he sent holographic recordings to other Sanghili, hoping to open their eyes as well. In the meantime, he strengthened the defenses of their gas mine, fortifying it with plasma cannons and a large complement of Banshee. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, complement of Banshee fighter craft in anticipation of the Covenant's retribution for the heresy.
So we could have touched on it a little later, but he kind of describes the terminal right there. It's kind of 343 Guilty Spark finds the heretics and basically tells them,
like, they just happen to recover him and they're like,
yeah, I think
come
in the terminal he like flies to them and he comes in and he says, you know, great journey, salvation. What are you talking about? That's not what these are for. These are weapons.
oh no,
we're
we're wiping people out
for to kill the Flood's
the
food.
purge. Yeah,
and you know, Sisa is mind blown.
He's
like, I can't. Obviously, the prophets, we've been lied to our entire lives.
yeah.
And he knows what, like, they call the monitor or Guilty Spark the Oracle.
Yeah.
Like, he knows what 343 Guilty Spark is. He knows he's the monitor of the ring. So when he tells him that, who of course he knows he's a fucking Forerunner artifact.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. Fucking Guilty Spark coming in. All right. We also pick up at this moment the Type 51 carbine, also known as the Covenant carbine. It is a Covenant infantry firearm carried commonly by the How do you say this?
Jirohani.
Kigyar, and the Sanghili. The carbine serves as the Covenant's medium to long-range weapon. The weapon's design is very basic with unique differences. The first is its magazine placement, which is located right above the trigger guard. The weapon's cylindrical magazine holds 18 rounds and also provides as an indication of the number of rounds left in the magazine using the holographic display.
Not in the remaster, which is very weird.
Really?
It's the one thing they left out.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Isn't that... Yeah, okay. We're about to get right into what my question was. The weapon is also capable of 2 times magnification. However, it is not known where the magnification device is. I was literally about to be like,
scope,
is
but
it
somehow
on?
It zooms.
You must zoom in through the fucking
ammo.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that heads up display on it must translate into the
I don't fucking know.
That's the only way I can.
If the wiki don't know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's so true. The carbine marks itself as unique among Covenant firearms by its ammunition. Rather than using plasma bursts, which can be inaccurate and slow at long range, this weapon utilizes caseless radioactive projectiles shot at supersonic speeds. It is unknown how or when the Covenant developed this weapon, but its ammunition is believed to be the base for the fuel rods cannon's ammunition.
One piece of trivia.
Yeah, we got a little piece of trivia. In Halo 2, when you reload, the magazine will pop out and disappear almost immediately. In Halo 3, they will fall on the floor and take a short while to disappear.
Yeah, and this is where we would have talked about the terminal, but we already talked about
we already
it
covered
earlier. And we noticed the Sentinels are also sided with the Heretics because obviously the Oracle is with them. And I made you, Chris, you specifically read this because you said you like the Sentinel.
I do like the Sentinel beam. Yeah, it's one straight line. So we pick up the Sentinel beam. The Sentinel beam is a Forerunner directed energy weapon. Sentinel beams are often integrated into the Sentinels from where the weapons take their names. That weapon is particularly effective against small flood outbreaks and energy shields. The Sentinel beam runs on a non-rechargeable battery that runs out very quickly, yet even Sentinels created many thousands of years ago are capable of firing one. It may be possible that a Sentinel beam attached to a Sentinel is powered by the Sentinel itself. It should be noted, though, that Sentinel beams taken off of destroyed Sentinels often have some of the battery depleted. And some trivia, in Halo 2, if a player throws a grenade while the Sentinel beam is overheated, there will be no throwing animation.
That actually happened to me when I was playing last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've noticed that before, but I'm like, okay, that's why that happened.
And then in Halo 3, a fully charged Sentinel beam will be left at exactly 77 charge after it overheats from a single continuous
Those
burst.
sick fucks with the 7 number. I swear to God. They're
You're sick.
you sick
You're fucking
bastards.
sick.
Disgusting.
You're
You
sick.
know, they're probably trying to say 666, like the devil. God, I'm sorry. I'm all up in arms.
I'm just I'm hot and bothered. So yeah, we're kind of moving through. We're fucking killing these heretics. And we kind of move into this room with a bunch of conveyor belts, and there's a ship in the middle, and you're probably wondering, what is that ship?
What the
Oh,
fuck?
yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Type 31 Exo-Atmospheric Multi-Role Fighter, otherwise known as the Seraph-class starfighter, which is a widely used Covenant starfighter ship. The Seraphs have been seen in operation as early as the Battle of Harvest. Some trivia, the Seraph's design was originally a Covenant tank. Instead of having the name that represents a sinister supernatural being like Wraith or Phantom, the word Seraph is derived from one of the highest rankings of angels as described in certain texts of the Bible. The Seraphs are one of the main attack fighters featured in Halo Reach's Long Night of Solace level.
So wait, I'm confused. The Seraph is a tank?
No, it was designed as a
But
tank.
it is a flight.
Right.
That makes
It-
sense.
yeah.
No, okay. I just was making sure I understand.
Yeah, it was
I do
just-
like that, though. Seraph Angel. It's in the air. I like it.
Yeah. It all makes sense. And also at some point we probably picked up a fuel rod cannon from one of these little fucking grunts somehow picking this shitting up. That's what I was actually, when I was writing this, I'm like, how the fuck do the grunts actually carry this fucking thing? Like, they're not that big. They can't be that strong.
Well, but how heavy do you think that fuel rod cannon is?
Probably pretty heavy.
I doubt it. I feel like they made that shit light as fuck. Because that's what I mean. Weapons today, isn't that like a big thing? They want to make them pretty light, like to carry. Like
I'm curious how guns are pretty heavy. You ever,
yeah,
you ever,
no,
you
definitely.
fired
But
guns before?
like a rifle, I guess like a rocket launcher is probably pretty damn heavy. But I feel like if I were to extrapolate in my thought on these people, they would make that as light as possible, from the lightest material possible, so that they could.
Yeah, guns
handle it.
are pretty heavy.
No, they absolutely are.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting when you're like playing a game and then you get a gun. It's like, oh shit.
Especially like a handgun. Like it really, yeah.
Yeah. Picking up the fuel rod cannon. It's called the gun in some instances. I've always called it a fuel rod cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, gun is fucking lame. It's a
Is
fucking
it?
giant
Are both
shoulder.
used, or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And when you like in some games it's gun and in sometimes it's referred to as cannon. I just like
I
cannon.
probably would have said the fuel rod gun.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably would.
Fuck you. Shut up. Get out of my basement.
You just hear the mic cut. I'm going.
The Type 33 light anti-armor weapon, commonly known as the fuel rod cannon or gun, is a Covenant shoulder fire mortar radiation weapon. The Fruit Cannon is a man-portable version of the cannon that is mounted on Covenant vehicles. It is a support weapon that is commonly employed in both anti-personnel and anti-vehicle roles. The design of the Fruit Cannon is unique, resembling a large ornament more than a deadly weapon. It is also unique in the way that it operates. Its ammunition is placed on one side. Its ammunition is placed... Wait, I got lost. Its ammunition is placed one on top of the other to form a magazine, when it is then loaded into the weapon. It is unknown what exactly holds the rods together. It fires an unknown type of incendiary gel. Next to nothing is known about this weapon's ammunition except that when it strikes a target, it does so with a devastating result. The Fruit gun shoots the same type of incendiary gel as the Hunter's assault cannons, obviously. I think you didn't realize that?
No, I didn't.
Really?
I mean, I guess it makes total sense now that you pointed out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The Fruit gun's design in Halo 2 is very similar to the one shown in pre-Xbox Halo. So, again, another gun that was cut from Halo 2 or 1.
That was
they
brought back. Yeah.
Well, it's in Halo 1, but you can't pick it up.
Yep.
I think I have something about that. The Fruit Cannon is the only weapon in the trilogy which a separate... The Fruit gun is the only weapon in the trilogy which a separate animation and timer when throwing a grenade. There is an approximately 0.5 second longer delay before you throw a grenade.
He called it the fuel rod gun. Did you hear it?
Twice.
He called it the fuel rod gun.
We're right. You're wrong. Your mind knew it.
In Halo Combat Evolved, the Fruit Cannon will explode after death of the grunt using it. The explosion is much like a plasma grenade explosion, only green.
I wish you didn't mention it to him because he would have done it again. And he wouldn't.
I had to.
It's like
He was going.
and then it would have been over.
He was going against everything he was saying.
So we continue to fight a little bit through the compound. We see the heretic leader flees on a banshee and goes to defend the Oracle. And we get on a banshee ourselves and fly after him. This is the part with some cool music. Some interesting
absolutely,
facts.
yeah.
So, in the original, in the classic version of the game, which you can switch between them both, a song called Follow by Incubus, which is part of a 4-part musical suite called The Odyssey plays. So, Incubus did the music for this part in the original. In the anniversary, the song is called Follow in Flight by Misha Mansour of the progressive metal band Periphery, which I actually listened to before this, so this was pretty cool.
So another fun fact, he actually does music for Destiny too.
Does he?
Oddly enough, yeah, he did.
I mean, that makes sense.
He did a retelling of
the 2 anniversaries by 343. So there's not technically.
No, that makes total sense.
But he does some of the Destiny. He did one of like the new songs for their Destiny 1 DLC, Rise of Iron. Like one of the Nightfall bosses. He like redid the music, and now it's in Destiny 2 because that strikes now in Destiny 2. There's another Destiny reference coming up towards the end of Oracle that I want to touch on.
I have no idea.
Not so much as
it's a reference to in Destiny to Halo, or is
it's
like,
more so like it just gave me Destiny vibes because when you're bringing down the station in the next level, there's also a space station drop in the newest raid in Destiny, where you have to like deposit nukes and you're basically bringing down a station and slamming it into Europa.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and it did the two after doing the raid and then doing this, there was definitely some parallels.
Yeah, you were like, oh,
Yeah, I was like, I just did this.
You were mentioning before you didn't like the music here. I felt like
I said it was weird. Yeah, it was very weird, and I was like, now
it
that
definitely did come in out of. I felt like it was more noticeable.
It went up and down, like it was like guitar, and then it went like
I got the progressive metal was like
yeah.
Like I felt so. Like don't get me wrong, it didn't pull me out or anything. That just jumped out at me when I got into that part. I definitely do remember. Yeah.
And we just fly for a little bit, kill some.
A little long, a little too long.
Turrets, and then we land and the level's over.
Yeah, again, there are some parts. That's the thing I'm noticing in this one. There are some parts where they probably actually could have saved some time, I think, and chopped that off maybe. But like, still, great stuff.
So we jump right into the level, the Oracle synopsis. The Oracle is the 7th campaign level of Halo 2, where the player plays as Thelvadamy, aka the Arbiter. Starting directly after you land the Banshee, where you were flying in the previous level, the opening cutscene has Taz Vadumi, comment on smelling a familiar stench. This is the first level in Halo where you encounter the Flood and some of their new abilities, most notably the ability of Infection Forms to revive fallen combat forms and shielding on some combat forms. So yeah, the stench he's talking about
Is the flood? Is the flood? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, definitely. From going back and playing this, I don't remember the flood here. I didn't remember that.
remember
And then
either.
coming in, I was like, oh shit, the flood.
Yeah, you walk in and you see the room with the
spores.
in there, and then you go into the next room. And
I thought it was early. I was like,
And there's-
wow.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right. Like again, like same thing with the weapons. Like how the weapons are introduced early. Like the flood are introduced. I feel like early too. They just kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't think they're bad placement.
No, not at all.
But it's quicker.
Those like pods when you're walking by the rooms where it's like all the green, they're like containing all. They look so good on
Yeah.
the update. They really
Yeah.
did. Like it just looked like the. It looks great. I
the
keep
flood
saying it,
look
but like they
really-
look
Yes,
awesome.
they do.
Yeah, they look good now, opposed to like in Halo, the original Halo 2 and Halo 1. They were
Even
like,
the even
I mean,
with
they
the
were
update,
scary for sure, but
for
like
sure.
now
Yeah.
there's some real detail in them.
It really does remind me like of how like they were definitely trying to go for a thing type of like alien race, which I appreciated. But
Yeah, we move into the next room. Well, we saw those elites fighting the heretic elites fighting the
They were like below you.
yeah, flood. And then we get into the next room, and the heretic leader speaks to us for the first time via a hologram. So let's get into a dossier on the heretic leader himself, Sessa Rafumi. Sessa Rafumi was the leader of the heretics, referred to in Halo 2 simply as the heretic leader, never named in-game, who had taken control of the gas mine on Threshold and a small base on Basis. So this is the moon. It's near the moon of Threshold. Basis is the moon of Threshold. A gas giant's moon, which installation 4 rests between. Concurrently with the Prophet of Regret, Sessa Rafumi is a main antagonist for the first half of Halo 2, specifically for Theldadamy's first section of the campaign. He is seen in only these 2 levels that we're doing. For all intents and purposes, Sessa Rafumi is his own. Sessa Rafumi on his own is just a Sangheili Ranger with different colored armor and shields that could withstand up to 2 energy sword lunges, making him accurately comparable to an Ultra Elite. He utilizes 2 hollow drones to assist him in a fight and his method to stay away from harm's reach. These hollow drones, when projected, create 2 identical models of himself, which deal real damage upon the player. Some trivia. Even though Rafumi left the Covenant, he did not remove his EE suffix from his name, which denotes his service in the Covenant military. He's the second tallest Sangheili known in the Halo universe, the tallest being Zaitin Jar Wattenry. I don't know. He's actually from like Onyx. The Onyx, what's the Onyx? Onyx Rising? Is that what it's called?
I think so.
What's
Girl.
the Onyx book? Yeah, he's in that one. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Ghosts of Onyx.
Ghost of Onyx.
Ghost
yeah.
of Onyx.
So after this encounter, we get to the worst part of the game. This fucking elevator, which is like,
this was I
fucking
was like,
elevator.
what the
Yeah,
fuck
man.
is
I
happening?
don't understand it.
Yeah,
Like,
it stops and
like,
then it just.
ugh. It's
Who
like-
built this thing? Like what the fuck?
Damn
like,
you, Bungie!
Like I was
Who
just
built
like,
this?
who built? Like I'm like on the elevator. It's like, all right. So when we build this elevator to get you down in this facility,
I love the note that he has in here. It's just called the fucking elevator.
I know it's
My
so
note
true.
is the fucking
Well, it's funny.
elevator.
I looked. I'm like, what is he talking about? The fucking now that you've like actually said. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that fucking elevator.
I feel like this is another like Halo 1 kind of
just pad out. Like
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Christ.
Just make me go down and
Like,
fight one horde of them.
Elevator's fine, but it is way too fucking long.
You know you can. So I got halfway down. I just jumped on the platform and skipped half of it.
You did?
Yeah,
Can
I
you do
wanted
it?
I wanted to try it because I was afraid I was gonna
Wait,
die.
really?
yeah. I got
You-
like
there's a-
I got a little over, maybe a little over halfway down, but I saw where like the platform was that you like get off on, and I jumped down and I got on it and I just continued on.
Since we got a long wait on this elevator and we're technically not on it, I think this is a good time to bring up any thoughts we're having going forward. I mean, so guys, how are we enjoying Halo 2?
Massive improvements. We've said it too much, but it's just improvement over Halo 1. Everything, the story is so much better. You feel like you're more involved in it. Obviously,
There's just more to. Yeah, I agree.
with the Covenant side too. The Covenant
Absolutely.
alone, I just like seeing that extra side of the other war.
With the Covenant, they were just the bad guys in the first one. You really had next to no reason to care about them or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
unless they give them some depth, you realize they're kind of like a obviously like a species led astray. But like, it's interesting that even like religion has taken over like this advanced society and like they're all basing everything on. It's cool. I think, like you said, it's a step up in everything: gameplay, story, mechanics. All of it is
Yeah.
just so much more fun to play and much more engaging. I want to keep going. I finished Arbiter. And I'm like, and I kept playing last night. I'm like, oh, what do we have to get up to? And you're like, only Arbiter. I'm like, oh fuck. All right, I got it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, all right, I got to stop then. But I didn't want to stop. I want to keep going.
Yeah. So one Easter egg I have too is you can actually see your legs in this game, opposed to Halo CE you can't, and all the other Halos you can see your legs. But if you look down, you can say hi.
Oh, yeah. Say hi to your knees.
I do. That is one. I do remember back in the day that was one of the first things I would do.
Look down.
Truly, like,
and
could
try
you
to
see
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully that little exhibition kind of padded that elevator out. If you're playing and listening, you're probably fucking still on it. So I'm sorry about that.
We'll see you down there.
Yeah, so we're gonna exit that elevator and we enter a large room with like a hall sort of thing. That is where we will find our next terminal.
Yeah, and then this one is more about just the lies that the prophets have been telling. Honestly, this one is it's got more so the 343 asking why isn't there any help coming, and he said Cisa said your only help is me.
Yeah,
because obviously if they were to tell the higher ups what's going on, that would incite a rebellion.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty. I mean, they become heretics and go against the Covenant. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens.
It's crazy that they label them the bad guys when in reality, it's just like they don't want to
figure out
die.
the truth. Yeah, they were like, wait, you're telling me we're just gonna? Yeah, because the way the Guilty
Great
Spark
Journey is a farce.
The way Guilty Spark explained to him was completely just science. He's like, well, we got to kill all of you to stop, the flood from expanding. Oh, what happens after we kill you all? Oh, you're just dead.
Yeah, you're just
like you died. You mean there's no heaven? Why would there be a heaven? There's
who?
What is a heaven? Oh, you mean that bullshit? No, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? They're like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
no,
and I like how Oracle always is like, how do you not know this?
Yeah, it's like what?
He's always surprised when people don't know what Halo.
He's like, why do you call me
is.
Oracle?
He's like, why are you using all this strange language and like?
I am 343 Guilty Spark, monitor of installation 4. Yeah.
It's like, we get it.
All right, fuckhead. God damn it.
So after that terminal, we travel a little bit further. We get to this room with like sort of a spire going up, spiral staircase. This is a cutscene where we see the heretic leader seal himself in. And we find an Arbiter kind of devises a plan. The only way to get him out is to cut the cables to the station and put it in a free fall. So we ascend the tower to do exactly that. And then we get up and cut these giant fucking...
like 6 or 7 slices with your sword just to get him.
Yeah.
I died
to get him to fall
4 times here by accident because I kept jumping. Yeah,
by accident. No, you're good.
No, I'm just fucking. I don't know why I kept doing it. Like when it drops, if you jump at a certain time, you float off the station and die. And I kept doing it.
How the gravity physics work.
It was very weird.
You're not just like attached to the ground. Gravity works differently once the.
It was very odd.
Free falling.
I didn't jump. I mean, I never. Had
I
that
did
happen.
it the first time to check. I was like, oh, it did work. And then I did it by accident the second time. I'm like, okay, time to get together. And then I accidentally did a third time again too. I'm like, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So after that, we go back down. The heretic leader is kind of running away. We pursue him and backtrack through the majority of the level. So this is a lot of combat here. And then we get to our first boss fight of the series.
Yeah. Well, I guess. I would say,
100%.
What about shooting? Oh no, that's Halo 3, isn't it? Shooting 343 with the Spartan laser.
Yeah.
In Halo 1? No, we don't do that in Halo 1.
No.
God.
Spartan laser.
I jump around too much.
It's all right, don't worry.
Yeah.
My friends are like, yeah, let's do this. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I do the weekly challenges, so whatever. I jump around on so many levels.
Okay.
Oops.
It's okay. Yeah. No, this is literally the first boss battle. There's another boss battle. I think 2 more boss battles. Regret and Tartarus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I do remember.
Is Regret much of a boss fight?
No, but it's a boss fight.
Yeah.
As he attempted to make his own escape, and his Sarah fighter, Thel, found him and engaged him in battle. Despite his clever use of holodrones, we take him out. Yeah, so the holodrones are pretty cool. Never really see them again in the series.
No. How was the boss fight for you guys?
Easy.
Easy?
Yeah,
I played
easy. It's literally 2 slices.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
I did 2 slices and I was like, oh, I killed him. Oh, that's it. All right.
That was the real one. Okay.
On Legendary, that fight is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a dialogue before they fight. Do you guys want to do that? Do you want to be
sure?
Be
I can be Thel.
I'll be 343.
Oh no. Before that.
Oh.
So you are
I'll be
Rafumi. Yeah.
Okay. Turn, heretic.
The heretic leader turns to face the Arbiter.
Arbiter, I would rather die by your hands than let the prophets lead me to slaughter.
Who has taught you these lies?
And then a familiar I'll be 343. A familiar humming is heard. The Arbiter looks up and sees 343 Guilty Spark descending from above.
The Oracle!
Hello, I am 343 Guilty Spark, monitor of Installation 4.
Ask the Oracle about Halo, how they would sacrifice us all for nothing.
More questions? Splendid. I would be happy to assist you. 343 Guilty Spark. Wait.
And then Arbiter asks, like, goes to...
Wait.
Where am I at? I'm confused.
Oh, yeah. Any questions are cut off as the heretic opens fire on Vadimi with the twin plasma rifles. Vadimi falls back, taking cover, while his shield generator is recharging. As he does so, the heretic leader floats back toward the Seraph and pulls out 2 holodrones.
The elites are blind, Arbiter, but I will make them see.
The heretic leader releases the drones, which become copies of him, and they look towards the Arbiter. During the battle, the heretic leader will continue to taunt Thel Vadimi. Yeah, do you want to read these?
Sure. I just find it... I don't think I got any of these dialogues because I beat them too fast.
beat 'em
There's a lot of them,
immediately,
and they're hard to hear.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I remember even...
but they're interesting.
Well, even in the first one, I remember the part where you walk into the first level when you interact with the Flood. And, like, if you let that guy speak before killing him, you get all that extra dialogue. Yeah.
All about the extra dialogue.
How did the prophets buy your loyalty, Arbiter? With a new command, a new fleet, or was it the promise, their great journey? Look around you, Arbiter. This facility and dozens like it resulted in the study of the parasite. But where are the weapons, Arbiter? What was the result? All that time and effort and the best the Forerunners could do was put these foul creatures on ice. And now, where are these gods the prophets would have us worship? Transcended? Ha! Hardly. Come, Arbiter, let me show you where they went.
343 Guilty Spark will also talk to Thel Vadimi throughout the battle. This mining facility predates the installation alpha by several hundred years. It was retrofitted to research possible offensive and defensive measures against the Flood. Indeed, I designed and oversaw the construction of this facility's various outbreak management systems. The cable on top of this mine was designed as a failsafe in case an outbreak took place. I'm glad someone had the foresight to cut it. Fortunately, all the Flood on this installation will perish once this facility enters the planet's nitrogen core. Yay. The Arbiter successfully dispatches the heretic leader and retrieves the Oracle from the station. The cutscene. I will be Guilty Spark.
Let's keep it with
You
Fel.
can be Tartarus. Trio will be the Arbiter. Unfortunate. His edification was most enjoyable.
I had no choice, Holy Oracle. The heretic imperiled the great journey.
Oracle, great journey. Why do you meddlers insist on using such inaccurate why? 343 Guilty Spark is snatched by an unseen force and pulled away. He is dragged through the air directly into the top of the Fist of Rucht, the gravity hammer of Tartarus. Tartarus, standing beneath a phantom, pulls 343 Guilty Spark off the end of his hammer.
That is the Oracle!
So it is. Come, we are leaving this system.
And fades to black, and that is the end of this level. But first, let's hit some trivia. When you reach the LZ that you took a Banshee from near the end of the Arbiter, the cutscene will show the Arbiter crashing the Banshee into the wall below the LZ before he climbs up and walks to the door. This is similar to what Master Chief did at the beginning of the mall.
I noticed
Remember
that,
So
yeah.
the Banshee hits and he...
I picked up on that
is
instantly.
funny. Yeah.
I didn't pick that up at
I
all.
picked it
Doesn't
up
make
per-
any sense at all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When
Physics
you're-
are insane.
When you are about to encounter the Flood for the first time, a grunt soldier can be heard saying, "Me got a bad feeling about this." This is similar to Private Mendoza's words in Halo Combat Evolved when you first encounter the Flood. Interesting.
That's
Two
interesting. I didn't
things
pick that one up.
Never picked up.
Yeah, didn't pick that one up.
He said, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Me got bad feeling
But
about
then,
this.
What's his name? Said that.
Mendoza probably says, "I have a bad feeling about
That
that."
wasn't
I got
a
a
Star
bad
Wars
feeling
reference.
about this, Sarge.
Probably was.
I'm thinking that's probably what it was, I assume.
It definitely
That's
is.
what I'm thinking.
An aliens reference.
And that's it. That's the end of the Oracle and the Arbiter.
Well.
Episode 8 in the bag.
The first journey as the Arbiter.
Yeah, 3 levels into 2.
Episode 8.
Yeah.
Done.
Or no, sorry, 3 episodes into 2, 6 levels into.
How many more do we have now?
So
There's like 15.
No,
Yeah,
I guess for Halo
there's-
2, I mean. How
yeah,
many
there's
do we
like
have left?
3 cutscene levels. So
Yeah.
we have next is Delta,
Delta
Halo,
Halo.
Sacred Icon, and then Quarantine Zone and another Arbiter level, and then there's a Chief level, maybe like 2 chief levels, and then the final 2 levels are arbiter levels, I think.
So we're looking at about 4 more episodes at least for 2.
Maybe 3. I haven't figured out how we're slicing
all right.
it up yet.
Well,
at
that
this
sounds
point.
good. Thank you all so much for joining us, at least this far. It's been fun to play as the Arbiter for the first time in Halo 2. Thank you all so much for watching. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search the Delco Nerd Network. We are on all the social medias at Delco Nerds. We have a fun Discord chat where you can talk about everything from Halo to whatever else you're feeling that day. It's a great time. Lots of fun people in there. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. Our email is also there, delconerds@gmail.com. For Chris, for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for listening, guys. Stay nerdy. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. You want to know how much just throwing in thanks for listening fucked me up? It literally got my... I'm like, I'm going to try to say thanks for listening this time.
I might keep this in.
No, do it. I love it. But it's amazing. Like I tried to make the goddamn correction, and it literally was like, good night, guys. Thank you.